You're listening to WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key in Noonan, Georgia, home of Braves Country with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks, weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern, right here on The Key and YouTube.com at Braves Country.
Tom has been a teacher for over 40 years. One day, I think one of the students had asked the question and he didn't remember the answer. And I also noticed that he was letting his class out earlier than they were supposed to let out. I was really starting to worry.
Levi and I talked about how it would change our lives, but he was there beside me.
When something feels different, it could be Alzheimer's. Now is the time to talk. Visit alz.org/ourstories to learn more. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Hey folks, this is Mark White with The Mark White Show, and you can tune into The Mark White Show every Saturday from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. right here on Rock 99, WQEE The Key, the home of Southern sports and talk.
Are you looking for a reliable dental practice that not only cares about your teeth, but is friendly to work with? How about one that offers great deals and new patient promotions? Well, your search is over. Most Valuable Smiles in downtown Eatonton, Georgia is committed to giving you the biggest and brightest smile. Right now, get a $99 new patient special, including x-rays and exam. Maybe you're looking for veneers. Most Valuable Smiles veneer special includes one free veneer with every 5 purchased. Or get that bright white smile you've always wanted by taking advantage of an exclusive $100 off Zoom whitening treatment when you book today. And don't forget that 2022 is almost over. That means most insurance policies will reset by the new year, and to avoid losing that extra money, you need to use it or lose it. Book an appointment today with Most Valuable Smiles in downtown Eatonton to lock in these exclusive deals. Call 706-623-0318 or visit mostvaluablesmiles.com.
Enjoy sun-drenched days, epic stays, and plenty of room to roam in Greater Fort Lauderdale. Our hotels, attractions, and restaurants have taken the Visit Lauderdale's Safe and Clean pledge, so you can relax and explore with confidence. When you're ready for that well-deserved staycation, our 23 miles of golden beaches await. Find wide-open spaces to hike, bike, kayak, and paddleboard. Visit your favorite attractions, then dine out in style in dining rooms or al fresco on waterfront patios. Learn more at sunny.org.
It all starts with just one thing. When recycling, rinse out jars and cans, and avoid recycling wax paper or paper soiled with food. This will reduce recycling contamination. Find tips and more at onethingus.com. What's your one thing?
Hey sports fans, The Key has a brand new show. Braves Country is coming your way weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern. Drive time on WQEE. Braves Country is a Southern sports talk show with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. We'll be talking the Atlanta Braves and Major League Baseball, along with everything important to sports fans in Braves Country. The SEC, ACC, Big Ten, and the National Football League, and the big sports news of the day. That's Braves Country with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. Weekdays, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. right here on WQEE The Key, 99.1 FM, and simulcasting on youtube.com/at Braves Country.
At Shell, we know from the time you get up to the time you wrap up,
good night,
there's a lot of meetups, eat-ups, and hurry-ups. So come to Shell and get 3 things done at once. Fill up with Shell V-Power Nitro Plus to help keep your engine running like new. Save up with the Fuel Rewards program and never pay full price for gas again. And snack up with in-store rewards to save even more at the pump. Make the most of the stop you need to make with Shell and engines that continuously use Shell V-Power Nitro Plus premium gasoline. See full terms and conditions at fuelrewards.com.
That's the sound of NyQuil Severe hard at work. NyQuil Severe is the best sleep with a cold medicine. No tossing and turning, just rest and recovery. So you're ready to take on tomorrow. For powerful relief of your worst cold and flu symptoms, try NyQuil Severe. The nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, stuffy head, best sleep with a cold medicine. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Hey Braves fans, thank you for listening to Braves Country Baseball. Hi, I'm Mac McGee, and we are here to bring you play-by-play, pitch-by-pitch of your Atlanta Braves and bringing you spring training and 2 to 3 games a week all season long. Please like and subscribe today. Braves Country Baseball.
Winter is the perfect time to start planning for your healthy, pest-free spring lawn with True Green, America's #1 lawn care company. True Green's science-based approach and local expertise will help give your lawn the year-round care it needs to be thick and weed-free. Go to truegreen.com. Just call 866-946-5956 or go to truegreen.com today and get a lawn to be proud of.
Hey, sports fans, it's Rod Peterson here, host of The Rod Peterson Show, inviting you to join us daily for 2 hours of Atlanta's funnest sports talk right here on WQEE. I say fun because it is. You've never heard a show like it because we make the listeners a part of the show every day between noon and 2 p.m. Eastern. You'll hear plenty of the best sports talk, including the latest on the Falcons, the Braves, and more. And who knows, you might even hear you. That's the Rod Peterson Show, daily at noon, right here on WQEE 99.1 FM.
It's the best in sports and entertainment, and get locked in and locked down with Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. with your host, me, Ryan O'Neill, each and every morning, right here with the best in sports and entertainment, all the way from professional sports to college sports to River Dragons hockey and everything in between, including some of the very best local and national guests. It's the Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. Monday through Fridays, right here on 99.1 FM WQEE.
Hey, sports fans. Weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern. Drive time on WQEE. Braves Country is a Southern sports talk show with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. That's Braves Country with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. Weekdays, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. right here on WQEE 99.1 FM. You're listening to WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key in Noonan, Georgia.
Armchair. You're listening to the Armchair Quarterback Sports Radio, #1 sports station.
Good afternoon, and this is your Armchair Quarterbacks Sports Flash. MLB spring training action today. Braves are at the Phillies. We'll keep you updated from all the action in Clearwater and the scores on the screen on Braves Country HD. You've also got Nats at Mets, Orioles and the Pirates, Twins at the Rays, Pirates and Twins, Cardinals at Astros, Red Sox and Tigers, while the Astros travel to the Marlins. Your late games are Angels at the Guardians, Athletics at the White Sox, and Royals at the Mariners. Giants and Diamondbacks square off, and tonight, Blue Jays at Yankees, Royals host the Reds. The association is in action tonight, and NBA TV has a doubleheader. 7:30 Eastern, Nuggets are at the Raptors, and at 10 o'clock, Bucks are at the Suns. Other games in action, Magic at the Spurs, Cavs at the Hornets, Pistons are at the Wizards, Nets at Thunder, and the Knicks travel to the Trailblazers. March Madness begins tonight, baby. You got a couple of play-in games and the NIT all set and ready to roll. Let's take a look at the field of 68 first. Southeast Missouri State, 19-16 on the year. They finished first in the OVC. The Red Hawks will battle Texas A&M, Corpus Christi, Islanders. Islanders finished first in the Southland at 23-10. Corpus Christi, a 4-point favorite over under 156. And at 9:10 Eastern, you got an ACC-SEC showdown. Battle of 11 seeds trying to march on to the field of 64. It'll be the Pittsburgh Panthers squaring off against the Mississippi State Bulldogs. Panthers were 22-11 and last took the court last Thursday against the Duke Blue Devils, where they were blown out 96-69, while the Mississippi State Bulldogs are 21-12 out of the Southeastern Conference. Their previous game was also a blowout, 72-49 to the Alabama Crimson Tide. The Bulldogs are a 1.5-point favorite, the over-under 133. Over in the NIT tonight, things get going 7 Eastern on ESPNU. Hofstra versus Rutgers, the number 1 seed of the NIT. And over on the Deuce, it's Toledo versus Michigan. While at 7:30, Southern Miss will travel to UAB. Birmingham, a 9.5-point favorite. Villanova is a 3.5-point dog at Liberty. That game takes place at 9 o'clock. The other 9 o'clock tilt on ESPNU, Yale at Vanderbilt. The Commodores, a 4-point favorite. And at 9:30 on ESPN, Bradley at Wisconsin. Badgers giving up 3 on their home court. And on the U, it's Eastern Washington versus Washington State. The Cougars, 11.5-point favorite at home, over under 150.5. And Seton Hall versus Colorado is your 11 p.m. game on ESPN2. The Pirates, 17-15 on the year. Buffaloes hosting at 17-16. Some moving and shaking in the National Football League today. Let's hit it real quick. The Atlanta Falcons signed quarterback Taylor Heineke. Heineke signs a 2-year deal worth up to $20 million. The Georgia native will be replacing Marcus Mariota on the Falcons roster. Los Angeles Chargers have granted running back Austin Eckler permission to seek a trade after the two sides failed to make progress on a new contract. Eckler is 27 years old and entering the final season of a 4-year deal. He requested permission Monday to speak with other teams. Raheem Mostert returns to the Dolphins on a 2-year deal, and Jacoby Myers is heading to the Raiders. He signs a 3-year deal with Las Vegas worth $33 million to pair up with ex-Patriot himself and most recently former San Francisco 49er Jimmy G. And Michael Thomas is returning to the Saints. Michael Thomas helped recruit his new quarterback Derek Carr to come to New Orleans, and Carr returned the favor. Thomas's deal is incentive-laden and a 1-year contract. And the Tampa Bay Bucks are trading right guard Shaq Mason. Mason is headed to the Houston Texans. The Bucks will receive a 6th-round pick, and they will also send their 7th-round pick in the 2023 draft. We'll keep you up to date as the show goes on, including the Aaron Rodgers Watch. And that's your Armchair Quarterback Sports Flash. Stay tuned for Braves Country right here on WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key in Newnan, Georgia, simulcasting on youtube.com at Braves Country.
Armchair.
There's something kind of about a kid that's never played baseball.
We have been hoodwinked, bamboozled, and flat out deceived.
Why did you get so drunk?
You got drunk. I'm just really exhausted.
What's in that cup?
Armor Cokes.
Do you have any idea how important this is? We're trying to save the pump. Really? This is what you're doing?
Chief, what do you want to do tonight?
The same thing we do every night. Try to take over the world.
106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it.
Armchair.
YouTube Live.
Radio station.
The radio station you can call your own. Do you know what listeners like about our station?
I like everything. It's always on my radio. We never stop the music, except for now, when I talk.
You're listening to Braves Country with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. We're here live weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern, WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key, and simulcasting on youtube.com/@Braves Country. Your first choice for Southern sports. Good afternoon. I'm Mac McGee, and I don't know much, but I know one thing. Taylor Heineke is coming to Atlanta. This should be a heck of a quarterback battle down here in Georgia.
Armchair.
Community Access Channel.
He's the armchair quarterback. He's full of beer and he's full of snacks. The all-American man.
Hey, howdy, hi, and how the hell are you? I am absolutely excited for today's action. We've got March Madness beginning tonight. Couple of games that we'll get into here in a little bit. The Braves, by the way, are putting an absolute whooping on the Philadelphia Phillies. It's 14-2. That game is in the bottom of the sixth. And no, there's no mercy rule. But you never know. They have been known to call spring games when enough is enough. There's no official mercy rule like they have in the WBC. How about that WBC? Big win last night by the U.S. over Canada. They pounded, I mean absolutely pounded, the Canadians. Mercy ruled them last night. And then they got big help as Colombia lost to Great Britain, and that was not supposed to happen. For folks who aren't following, that was not supposed to happen. So that was huge for the Americans because now they control their own destiny. Tomorrow night, so they are taking tonight off. Tomorrow night, the U.S. will take on Colombia, and that game is at 10 p.m. Eastern. Once again, way too darn late to stay up for that. I have already planned what I'm going to do. I am going to go to bed early tomorrow night. Not going to watch the late game of the second March Madness game. I already told my wife, I said, I'm going to bed early. When I mean early, I mean about the time the sun goes down as the time has changed. I'm going to bed early. I'm going to get up early before I have to be at my morning job. And I'm going to watch the World Baseball Classic, and I'll probably side by side it with the March Madness game. And I am looking forward because it's an actual play-in game. It's winning, you go in. I'm going to get up for it. So that's how I'm going to watch it. I don't know about the rest of y'all, how late you stay up, but staying up till 1 a.m. when you have to be up at 6 is just absolutely absurd. So I am looking forward to that, and we'll see if anything else plays out before then that may actually get them in. But right now, it's a win and you're in situation. The games tonight. Now you've got in the NBA, there are a few games, none really to speak of except for the fact that our hometown Hawks are playing. And I'm sorry, they are not playing. I was looking at the wrong day. So realistically, tonight is all. Last night, if you missed it, Hawks lost 136-115 and absolutely just came out flat at the beginning. I caught a little bit of that game, and they just came out flat in the beginning and dug themselves a hole they could just not get out of. So the Hawks they will not play until Friday night, and that game is 7:30. That game will be on NBA TV if you're not in the area. They're going to be at home against Golden State. So for folks who may want to go out and see Golden State Warriors in the Atlanta area, Golden State comes to Atlanta Friday night. So I'll tell you what, that is a rare 3 days off. That's why it threw me off, because usually it's every other day in the NBA, or back-to-backs. That is a rare 4 days off. I guess essentially 3 days off in the middle of the week. You don't normally get that in the NBA. But that's how the Hawks line up, and right now they're 34-35, and they're going to have to get extremely hot if they want to try to make this season competitive. Been trying to follow them a little bit. Right now they're the 8th seed in the East, so technically they're in the playoffs, but they're in the play-in round. And if it ended right now, they're at home in the play-in round. They would face the Toronto Raptors, but there's still a long ways to go. They have a 2.5 game lead on the Washington Wizards the Washington Wizards are sitting in 11th place. So right now, that's what we're looking at with the Hawks. As far as college basketball goes, what everybody really wants to focus on at this time of year, March Madness gets going tonight. There are 2 games. Looks like they're both on the True TV. So good luck finding that. I don't even know if I get those channels. I'll find out tonight. If I don't, then I'll pivot and watch some spring training baseball. But right now, the games tonight are Southeast Missouri State versus Texas A&M Corpus Christi. And that line's dropped to 3.5. And I find that interesting because I really like Corpus Christi. And if it was a lower money line, that would actually be my lock of the day. But the money line, I believe, unless it is dropped in, and I'm going to check it here in a minute, but the money line, because of what we do here and the way that we do our locks, we don't take any money line that's over 150. So 150 is that. I prefer that we stick in the minus 140 range, but 150 is the absolute most. When I saw it earlier yesterday, I believe it was around minus 175, but because that line has moved, maybe it can creep up towards there. But that game, I really think Corpus Christi is going to run them off the court. I really do. I just feel like this Texas A&M Corpus Christi, and it's not going to help them much in the next round, but they are one of the best free throw shooters and one of the best outside shooting teams in all of the country. I think they rank 2nd in the country in free throw shooting. It's a plus 80%, which is very rare in college basketball. So Texas A&M Corpus Christi, and they're playing a Southeast Missouri State team who's solid for their division. But I'm looking at this. You're talking about is just over a possession is the spread tonight. A team that typically hits their free throws and hits from the outside, that should be an easy get. The other game tonight, Mississippi State versus Pittsburgh. I'm leaning Mississippi State. I'm not a big believer in Pittsburgh, but I will say this. Mississippi State struggles to score. They rely on their defense, and they clear the glass. If Pittsburgh gets off to a hot start, Mississippi State's going to have a hard time getting back into the game. They're for you folks who are NFL fans, they don't have much of a passing game. So they have to come out and dominate the game early and try to stay on top, because trying to make any kind of run, it's very rare for Mississippi State basketball. A solid team, defensive team, but when they lose, it's normally because they can't buy a bucket and the team that they're against gets hot. Even with that being said, I'm leaning Mississippi State. Pittsburgh has been incredibly disappointing from times. They're very Jekyll and Hyde. You can't go off the last 2 starts. Both teams got blown out in their conference tournaments. Mississippi State by Alabama and Pitt by Duke. And though most people would say, well, Alabama's a much better team, Duke is playing better basketball the last month or so. Be very mindful of Duke. Most folks would say that's laughable. Duke is a powerhouse, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But they're a 5 seed, and you don't typically take 5 seeds to go deep into the tournaments. Duke is a dangerous, dangerous squad. We are going to be doing Joey's Final Four today. He'll be on the way here in a little bit. I'm going to give you one more of my teams in the Final Four, and then I'm going to do my last 2 tomorrow, because we want to get them all in before Wednesday or Thursday morning as the NCAA tournament begins. Remember, go to Braves Country HD. I'll put it up in the comments on our YouTube channel, but go to Braves Country HD. If you don't go to the YouTube channel, go to the our Twitter page, our Facebook page. It's pinned at the top already, and enter the Braves Country HD March Madness Challenge. You go in, it's free to enter, and the winner is going to get a gift card from Fanatics just in time to get you something, a brand new opening day ball cap if you're a Braves fan or whoever your baseball team is, or if you're getting ready for the NFL draft, you got the NBA playoffs, the NHL playoffs, whatever you want from Fanatics. I haven't combed all the way through Fanatics, but we decided to pick that site because any team of any sport can find something there. So what's it going to hurt? The worst thing you're going to do is waste 2 minutes of your life going click, 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 and away you go. It's filtered through the ESPN app, so they do all the calculations. So all you got to do is go in, sign up, and away you go. And it is as we've always called it, and of course we got it from Mike and Mike, it's the bracket of integrity, because we only allow one person entry on these. And so even though it's free to enter, that's why we do the one. Yeah, because we don't want someone who's sitting in their mom's basement all day filling out 25 of them and having an unfair advantage against someone who's like, I'm going to go ahead and fill one out real quick. And I'll reveal my entire bracket once on Thursday, but I didn't want to be unfair on that. And so I'm going to wait till then, but I am going to give my final four throughout the week. So Pittsburgh, Mississippi State tonight, Texas A&M, Corpus Christi, Southeast Missouri State. That's going to get us going for the Final Four. And you also have, real quick, the NIT, and there are some good games tonight. Some very interesting lines. Rutgers versus Hofstra, Toledo and Michigan. Vanderbilt's in action tonight. They're only a 3-point favorite at home against Yale. I really like Vanderbilt in that game. Liberty, they're giving up 4 to Villanova. Very interesting line there. Liberty giving up 4 to Villanova. And what was the other one that really caught my eye? Oh, Seton Hall in Colorado. That's the late game tonight. I think that should be a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Seton Hall, Colorado. Colorado, very good at home. Very good home team. So it's a little tricky if you take Seton Hall. Seton Hall, last time I saw, was getting around 3 or 4 points. It's not up on the site right now, but last time I saw, it was 3 or 4 points. And NIT action starts tonight. NCAA action starts tonight. Some folks actually do NIT brackets. We used to do them. And we might do them again down the road, but we just haven't gotten into it like we have. The pandemic kind of threw us all off, and I failed to reach out to the guys that normally did the NIT. And if I would have thought about it, I didn't think about it until this morning, that we used to do an NIT bracket. There's actually a pretty funny story on that. I'll tell you what, let's take a quick break. I'll tell that story here this hour. When we come back, we're going to do some talk and chop. We're going to get you caught up in the world of the Atlanta Braves. Be back in a flash in 2 and 2. Keep it locked in here on The Key in Braves Country HD, wherever you stream.
What delay industries?
No! They're delayed! Say they're delayed!
Now you're way off. Well, yeah, that's the right number, but this isn't an apartment.
No,
what?
they're delayed!
Make contact. A collective psychosis is sweeping the nation. We're in the thick of the haze craze, and Elysian is introducing an altered state of IPA. Contact Haze is a tangled chemistry of mild haze, low bitterness, and an explosion of hop aroma. This hazy IPA bursts with notes of bright raspberry, currant, citrus, guava, and passion fruit. Available in 6-pack cans in stores. And make contact.
It's the best in sports and entertainment, and get locked in and locked down with Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. with your host, me, Ryan O'Neill, each and every morning, right here with the best in sports and entertainment, all the way from professional sports to college sports to River Dragons hockey and everything in between, including some of the very best local and national guests. It's the Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. Monday through Friday, right here on 99.1 FM WQEE.
Dixie Handle Company, 5 generations of the Strickland family have produced quality hardwood farm and garden tools, wooden shutters, and custom furniture. This small business has been owned and operated since 1992 and ships to customers across the world. If you're looking for the highest quality tool handles, Dixie Handle Company is your place. Every item is handpicked to your specifications. If it's made of wood, they do it. Call now, 931-722-3395. That's 931-722-3395. Or go online to DixieHandle.com. The Dixie Handle Company. Welcome to Craftsmanship, a proud sponsor of Braves Country Baseball. Welcome back to Braves Country. Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks, weekdays 3 to 5 p.m., drive time on WQEE.
Richie's gone.
What do you mean gone?
Gone.
Where?
It's 18 years of marriage. Don't make me make you an accessory after the fact.
Welcome back. See this story where Lamar Jackson turned down 3 years, 133, all guaranteed, and he's doing a brag on Twitter about how he doesn't need an agent. You may not need an agent, but you might need a life coach, because you should have took that pimp. You should have walked out the door. That 3 years, 133 guaranteed. You hit free agency again 3 years from now, you're not going to get much higher guaranteed. That's the thing. So you do 3 years, 133, assuming your knees aren't shattered or whatnot. Regardless, 133 in the bag, forget it. You're doing okay. But you got to figure no matter what, Lamar Jackson will have the opportunity to make more money later in his career, as at that point he'd be in his late 20s. And if he ever figures out how to throw the ball forward and not lean on his running game so much, I'm sorry, he's laughing and saying that he doesn't need. What you're going to end up with in the end of the day is you're probably going to end up with a 4 or 5 year deal from somewhere. I don't think it'll be Baltimore, but we'll see. And you won't get much more guaranteed, and you won't be able to hit the free agency market again before you're right at that point where running quarterbacks are a little washed up. Because unless he becomes a pinpoint passer, which is very rare to happen this late in someone's career. But I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Let's say he becomes a pinpoint passer. Unless that happens, you're going to have a very difficult time at the back end of your career making a big contract, but 133 guaranteed right now. Even the lower end quarterbacks, when 3 years from now, let's say he's lower end. Let's say his knees a little washed up or whatever, and he's still going to get 20 or 30. He could probably sign another 3-year deal at that point. Not quite as much guaranteed probably at that point, but you never know. Would have made a lot more money if you would have did it that way. Most teams don't want to do it that way. Most teams want you in there long term. They want you 5 years. Because if you are continuing to produce, they can push it back. There's a lot of games that they can play with the salary cap, and away you go. But anyways, I saw that tweet and I was like, you're trying to make a brag, but actually what you're showing is your inexperience. He's been listening to his family, who's told him he doesn't need an agent. And though I normally say, listen to your family, they know what's best for you. In this case, not so much. Not so much, my friend. Not so much. We've all gotten bad advice from family. And I can think of some really bad advice I got a couple of decades ago that I still to this day regret. Won't get into that today. Too much to get into. But needless to say, I turned down a broadcasting job, play-by-play in Indiana, because I listened to family, and that's a long story, but never should have done that. Because here it goes full circle, and now I'm out here doing play-by-play baseball at this point. Someone just happened to be riding down the road and listened to I was doing a basketball game in northern middle Tennessee, and they were heading back to Indiana. And long story short, they wanted a basketball guy. And I listened to people who never were in the business that told me some really bad advice, but I won't throw them under the bus today. All right, let's get into the Atlanta Braves, who, by the way, right now 14-2 over Philadelphia. They just finished the 7th. I'll keep you updated on that. And made some notes this morning because I wasn't expecting this offensive explosion. So let's get into what has happened today. Let's cover that first, and then we'll get into the rest of it. Basically, what we're doing here on Tuesdays and Fridays, it'll be typically to start off the show, but with March Madness, we didn't do that this way today. We're going to be talking chop for about 20 minutes or so. And it'll get you ready for we do a play-by-play game on Braves Country HD, and WQEE is planning on covering quite a few of the games. But if it's not on the key, you can always find us on Braves Country HD wherever you stream. But we're going to get you ready for the game. We're going to get you a couple times a week where we check in and make sure you know what's going on with your Atlanta Braves. And if you do happen to miss the segment, we're going to use it as the pregame show on Tuesday and Friday nights when we do the games. So if for some reason you do miss it, we will rerun it leading into the games. Tuesdays and Friday nights, we've done that. This will be our 3rd season going in doing Braves Country on YouTube. And then we are doing 2 bonus games this year. And what days of the week are those? That's a loaded question. It really comes down to the Braves schedule. But typically we're going to do a game on either Wednesday or Thursday, the day game, if there is a day game that week. And we're going to do the same thing on Saturday if there is a day game that week. The only way that changes, if there is Sunday night baseball for the Atlanta Braves, we're doing that game instead. Because over the past couple of years, people have requested it. Mainly, without me trashing other people, they're saying that they're not the biggest fans of the ESPN cast, and they can take our broadcast and pair it up with the video. So I take that as a compliment more so than putting down the ESPN broadcast, but I do understand where that comes from, because I typically, if I'm watching ESPN Sunday Night Baseball, it's on mute. Because if the Braves are playing, I'm doing the game. If they're not playing, I usually mute it because it's been pretty rough the past few years. I do like Boog, but some of the worst part was that I don't know. I haven't seen if they're going to do it again this year, but they probably will. That A-Rod cast with Michael K on they put it on the Deuce. Oof. That was bad. They were trying to, for folks who didn't catch it, they were trying to do a Manning cast. The difference is Peyton and Eli Manning are entertaining, and they're very enjoyable to listen to, and they're funny. A-Rod, not so much. Even the biggest Yankee fan wants to rip his ears off when A-Rod starts talking. And Michael K, I like Michael K, but that's just not his gig. That's not where they should have went with it. If they were going to do that in Major League Baseball, I think they should have grabbed CC Sabathia. I think that would have been a much better idea. He's much more entertaining. Oh, wow. Look at this. Breaking news. The Raiders have traded Darren Waller to the Giants. Wow. That is a huge deal for the Giants. Now, we'll find out what the actual compensation is here in a second, but that is enormous. If you're just joining us, Darren Waller has been traded to the Giants, the tight end. Now, he's battled injury. He's missed 14 games over the last 2 seasons. But that is an enormous, enormous move. And wow, you do not see that every day. That's a ground shaker. I know there's been some other moves already, but that is a ground shaker. If you missed it earlier, Jacoby Myers signed with the Raiders, so this might have something to do with it. But wow. And now Daniel Jones, who just got that new contract, and remember they tagged Saquon, they got some things going there in Giant Land. And we know Brian Daboll, if he can get some pieces, look out. That is enormous, enormous, enormous news. And we'll continue to monitor that. But you get talent-wise, if he's healthy, he's top 3, top 4 tight end in the league. Obviously, Travis Kelce is the tight end in the league. I still have to put Kyle Pitts up there. I just don't feel like that they have used him, utilized him as well as they could have in Atlanta, but I do believe those days are coming. But Darren Waller is right up there. And I play a lot of fantasy football, so I pay attention to these statistics. And I can tell you, folks that drafted him last year were miserably disappointed. All right, let's go ahead and get into the Atlanta Braves. Sorry, that got me sidetracked. Did not expect that in the middle of talking chop. Today, Adrianza went deep. All right, have yourself a day, Adrianza. I like Adrianza. I don't know if he's going to make the team, but he went yard 5th inning. Ozzie Albies hit another home run, his second of the spring. Ozzie Albies, 3 RBIs today, 2 runs scored, went 1 for 3. Vaughn Grissom, how about that? Vaughn Grissom, 2 for 3 today, hitting .321 for the spring now. Marcell Ozuna. Now, look, I get it. This is spring. Let's not overreact. But Marcell Ozuna's hitting .321. He was 2 for 3 with 4 RBI. Grissom, by the way, had a double. So did Hechavarria. And let's see what Pilar went 2 for 3. I saw one of his. I don't think they gave him an extra base hit. I think they called it a single and an error, but he got a base hit and ended up making it to second because of hustle. Pilar is now batting .227. I still like him a lot. I think he's perfect at the edge of the bench. A kid like Justin Dean, who's playing well, and he's now in the game now for Atlanta. He's a guy that still needs seasoning. Pilar is who he is. He's a veteran that I don't think needs a lot of at-bats every week to be able to come in, not to just pinch hit, but he can give some guys the day off. Be shocked if Kevin Pilar doesn't make this team. Sam Hilliard got another couple of hits. He's starting to rake, 2 for 3. He's going to be a tough release. He's hitting .357 on the spring. And Adrianza, who went 1 for 4 today and 4 RBIs with that homer, he's hitting .381. So you got some guys that are hitting well this spring. It'll be interesting to see how they decide. I still contend I would prefer Adrianza to make the team because you only have 4 bench guys now because they like to carry 13 pitchers because that's the max. So if you have 13 pitchers and you got 9 hitters, counting your DH, I know in theory it's 5 because you can just circulate your DH, but let's be honest, the way the Braves are being set up this year, Darno and Murphy, when one's not catching, they're probably going to be in the DH position a lot. Not every day, but a lot. There's going to be some day-night games or day after night games that you'll probably see, especially like if Darno especially hit the night before, they'll probably give him the day off and let someone else DH. But just the way that they're constructed, I would much rather see Adrianza or someone with that kind of versatility to make the team, because you got to figure one catcher. You have to figure Pilar's making the team. So you're talking about 2 more slots, and I believe Ozuna is going to break camp, because when Snicker says he's going to break camp, that probably means he's going to break camp. And he's hitting 321 now. I know a lot of folks in Braves country do not like that idea, but it is what it is. And you've got 1 more slot, and it comes down to, is it Hilliard? I believe Hilliard is the one that's out of options. Or is it Adrianza? Because whoever doesn't make it will be DFA'd. And you hope to hold on to them in the organization, but usually someone scoops them up. And then, of course, you don't know. What you really don't know is who else gets cut around Major League Baseball that Atlanta might find as a fit. Atlanta, by the way, now leads 15-2. Normally we put the score up there, but such a blowout, I didn't see the point of it. We will be sharing the scores during March Madness. Don't you worry about that. And the Braves are, they still got a rally going. There's 2 on, 2 out, 1-0 pitch to Cody Milligan. The Braves lead at 15-2, pounding the rival Phillies. I was talking to a Philly fan today, and he's really excited about the season. And look, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. That's the team I'm worried about in the National League East. I'm much more worried about them than the Mets. I've got this feeling that the Mets are going to regress, and I mean a lot. Of course they're going to regress. The Mets are not going to win 101 games again. The Braves probably won't win 101 games. But I think the Mets are going to regress somewhere around 10 games this year and be in the very low 90s. I think it's going to take the mid 90s to win that division. And Philly's the team that I'm worried about. Okay, other topics that I wanted to get in real quick here on Talk and Chop segment on Tuesdays and Fridays here. Brandon Shoemake, he is going to make it very, very difficult, though I do believe he's heading back to the minors. But long term, he's going to make it very difficult to keep him in the minors. And what I mean by that is either A, Vaughn Grissom takes off and dominates that shortstop position, and away we go, and that's the best case scenario. I'm talking about for the defensive position. I'm not worried about Vaughn Grissom with the bat. Or he's clunking it around and kicking the ball into the dugout and whatnot. This is assuming everybody stays healthy. And Vaughn Grissom gets shifted into maybe left field or something, because Brandon Shoemake is sweet with the leather. If you haven't paid attention, he's very good with the leather. But he's been looked upon as a possible future utility guy. A guy that, hey, maybe he does cut with the team. I just figure that they want to give him more at-bats. But he's hitting 333 right now, and he could be the shortstop of the future in his own right. Or either he makes himself expendable in trade, or they do the unthinkable right now just because of all the talk in the offseason. Vaughn Grissom comes up for trade talk. But he is going to make it very difficult to keep him down there. The other thing is Nick Anderson is actually absolutely pitching his mind off. This kid is coming back. I say kid, he's actually grizzled veteran at this point. He broke into the majors late in his career, into his mid to late 20s with the Tampa Bay Rays, was phenomenal. And then he's battled injuries the last 2 seasons. But this spring, 3 innings of work so far in 4 appearances, 7 Ks, 7 strikeouts, allowed 1 hit and no walks. And it was one of these no-risk contracts that the Atlanta Braves signed. Very shrewd dealing by AA, trying to build that bullpen. Well, it's a 1-year deal. If he makes the big league team, $875,000. If he doesn't, and he ends up in AAA, it's $180,000. So obviously a big difference. But right now, I would be shocked if he's not on the big league roster. He is absolutely tearing it up. Interesting stat that I came across yesterday. I want to say this was MLB.com. I want to say it was Bowman's article. I can't remember. So I do apologize to who wrote it. But the Braves, now these are guys who have 38 home runs or more in at least one season in the last 4. Okay? So let me run that by you again. 38 home runs or more in 1 or more seasons in the last 4 seasons. Okay? There are 27 guys that can claim that. There's really not that many people in Major League Baseball, if you really think about it. There's 30 teams. You're talking about an average of less than 1 guy per team. The Atlanta Braves with Acuna, Olsen, and Riley have 3, and they're all going to be hitting back to back to back this year. Also with that, they have the highest number. With that 3 of the 27, that gives us 11.1% of the hitters in that category. The teams that have 2, because the Braves are the only team that have 3. The teams that have 2, the Angels with Ohtani and Trout, the Yankees with Torres and Judge. I would have never caught that. Gleyber Torres. That wouldn't have been my guess. I would have been guessing Giancarlo Stanton. But I guess we're 5 seasons removed from him. Remember when he tore it up and was the $325 million man? The Red Sox with Rafael Devers and our old friend Adam Duvall. By the way, he had a moonshot yesterday. Adam Duvall, I think, is going to be a heck of a signing for the Red Sox. And they're going to let him or start off the season allowing him to play center field every day. They're calling him his everyday center fielder. That could be, if he can stay healthy, that could be a difference maker for the Red Sox. The Toronto Blue Jays with George Springer, I think he's far past that 38 mark. I don't think we'll see that again. And Vladimir Guerrero Jr. The Padres with Nelson Cruz and Tatis, and Cruz is never hitting 38 home runs again, I don't believe. He took a sharp dive last year. All those teams have 2. The Braves are the only ones with 3. So when you start talking about the Braves offense, and they flashed up a stat earlier today about the most home runs last year in the Braves with their 243, I would have thought the Phillies would have been right there closer to them. Most of us knew that the Braves were the number 1, but I would have thought that we had 41 more home runs than the Philadelphia Phillies, who are known for their offense. Now, granted, we lost Dansby Swanson off of last year's team, and that'll be a big chunk. But I still think. Look, you look at Vaughn Grissom long term. I think he's going to be a guy who's going to average around 20 to 25 home runs. He might even balloon past that. This year, I would be thrilled with somewhere in the 15 to 20 range and hitting somewhere around 270-ish. With an OPS, I don't think he's going to get 800, but I would be happy with the high 700. And playing good, not great, good shortstop. As long as he is making the everyday plays at shortstop, it'll be fine. Not expecting him to do what Dansby did. Dansby was incredible. And remember, it took a while for Dansby to become Dansby at short. But as long as he isn't spitting the bit and kicking it into the dugout and playing croquet with it going between the wicket, between his legs, as long as that's not going on and extending innings because he's not making the easy play. The difficult play, whatever, we'll be okay. But we're 16 days away from opening day. And that's going to be the number one issue going in, is what kind of defensive play do we get from him? Elder pitched today, by the way, Bryce Elder, when we talk about the number 5 starter. Yeah. 4 innings, 4 hits, 2 runs, 2 strikeouts. He gave up a 2-run bomb to Castellanos. I caught that one. Wasn't terrible. He settled down after that. I still think that they want Ian Anderson to be the guy. So I believe that they're going to send Elder back down there, but at least they've got a guy down there. Something happens, injury, what have you. Elder can come up and piece it together. And Soroka still has an outside chance of making the team when we break here in 16 days, but I'm not betting on it. I think Soroka starts off in the minors. Let's take a really quick break. When we come back, we're going to get you updated on everything else. The NFL free agency frenzy is absolutely going bananas. We'll be back in a flash here on Braves Country. Friday, March 17th, St. Patty's Day with Braves Country. The Atlanta Braves are in Fort Myers, Florida to take on the Boston Red Sox. Braves Country Baseball right here on the Key, giving you play-by-play, pitch-by-pitch of your Atlanta Braves. That's Friday, March 17th, 1 p.m. Eastern, St. Patty's Day, Braves Country on WQEE.
It's the best in sports and entertainment, and get locked in and locked down with Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. with your host, me, Ryan O'Neill, each and every morning, right here with the best in sports and entertainment, all the way from professional sports to college sports to River Dragons hockey and everything in between, including some of the very best local and national guests. It's the Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. Monday through Friday, right here on 99.1 FM WQEE.
Braves Country on YouTube Live, covering the AFC South and NFC South along with the rest of the NFL. Subscribe and like us today. Your first choice for sports talk, Braves Country on WQEE and YouTube.com/@Braves Country.
As you know, Monty, Vaughn's been working on a couple of new pitches, the Eliminator and the Humiliator, to complement his fastball, the Terminator. I heard that. Dynamite drop in, Monty. That broadcast school has really paid off.
Welcome back. Get you caught up here before Joey joins us here in just a little while. We'll talk a little March Madness. We're going to give you bracket busters. We're going to give you Joey's Final Four. I'm going to pick another team into the Final Four. And the Atlanta Braves, 15-2. Have yourself a day, Braves, over Philadelphia. That game is in the 8th. And right now, I believe Danny Young's in. I'm having a hard time seeing it from where I'm at. There's a glare, but I'm pretty sure that's Danny Young. And they just got out of the inning. So they're heading to the top of the 9th. And Atlanta just crushing. This is one of the few times I wish I could hear it, because it was only available on Philadelphia TV today. I would love to hear what the Philly announcers are saying about the Atlanta Braves, and they're just pounding them. I listened to maybe an inning or so at the most. And by the way, the numbers are in on that Taylor Heineke deal. Falcons signed Taylor Heineke to a 2-year, $20 million deal. He's coming home. He's from Georgia. But the Braves heading into opening day, when we look at the schedule heading into opening day, and we start the first week on the road, and they're going to be at Washington, and then they go to St. Louis. And they've had both of their numbers, by the way. I don't love going to St. Louis early in the season, but hey, it's probably better to get it over with, right? And they've had the Cardinals number. There's no doubt about that. And they have owned Washington last few years, especially in Washington. But if we end up with cold weather up there in Washington, the bats may not be going. That's the only thing I hate. Atlanta starting the season off in a cold weather city. Now, as we get closer, the week of, I'll actually check the weather. I'm not checking the weather 16 days away, but the other outside chance you have there, because it's in DC in late March, is they get a lot of rain in that area. So hopefully everything is a go. We'll have first pitch here on Braves Country opening day. And that game is set for 1:05 Eastern. Let's get real quick into the NFL moving and shaking, as we know technically free agency starts at 4 o'clock tomorrow, but it's begun. The tampering began yesterday at 12 p.m. Eastern, I believe was the number they gave. And there have been some guys that have come off the board. There have been some guys who have stayed in place. Can get you real quick and get you caught up on that. The Miami Dolphins, I find this interesting because I had heard a rumor that the Dolphins could be heavy in on Miles Sanders, but I'm starting to think that's just not the case, because they are re-signing guys like Jeff Wilson. Jeff Wilson signed to a 2-year, $8 million deal. The big move today, if you're just joining us, Giants send a 3rd-round pick to the Las Vegas Raiders and acquire tight end Darren Waller. Darren Waller, if he's healthy, bare minimum top 5 tight end in the NFL, pass catching tight end. And actually he's a pretty decent blocker too, but I'm thinking Brian Dable is not going to be messing around with that. He doesn't want to get him banged up again. He's going to be not that he won't block at all, but I think he'll be more designed to go into the slot or come off the line. Just a nightmare. Now, the big thing that I would like to see what are the Giants going to do from here is their receiving core was horrible. I thought they may go after Jacoby Myers, but he went to the Raiders today. So, if they don't make some kind of a splash via trade, or maybe sign someone in free agency, there's not a lot of big names wide receiver free agency this year. You could see the Giants going very heavy in the draft. Do we cover the draft? We cover the draft every year, but we always wait till after opening day and all that. We usually wait a couple of weeks. There's been years when we've started it earlier, and to be honest with you, it gets so mundane and the information changes so much. We normally covered the draft. We'll do a little bit of a mock draft here and there. It won't be the whole show, but we'll start a mock draft about 2 weeks out and do just little segments here and there as we build up to it, because doing a mock draft now is just absolutely pointless because so many things are going to change. The way they've set up free agency now, you got to let the dust settle on free agency to even have a clue what's. When I see the mock drafts by Kuiper and the other guys slipping my mind right now, McShay, when I see their mock drafts coming out in December, I'm like, man, if that ain't clickbait, there's no such thing as clickbait. Because how in the world do you know what a team's needs are and what they want other than like the top 5 picks, right? Before free agency ever hits. It's absolutely impossible to guess that. They're saying the Aaron Rodgers now has a wish list, and I do know that they've been talking, the Jets have been talking to the wide receiver of his choice that he mentioned, I don't know, a couple of weeks after the season ended, that he wanted to work with Alan Lazard. He even mentioned Randall Cobb again. They talked about the tight end, Tunyon. Well, now they're saying Rodgers has provided the Jets with a wish list of free agents he would like for them to target and acquire. That includes tight end Mercedes Lewis, Randall Cobb, which we knew, Alan Lazard, who I just mentioned, and OBJ, Odell Beckham Jr. What? Okay, that's fine. But you got to accept the trade before I'm signing any of these guys, because if I end up with Zach Wilson and a collection of Bobos, then what in the world have we done? Okay, we're going to take a really quick break. When we come back, top of the hour, Joey's going to join us. It's time for the Sports Flash. Keep it locked in here on Braves Country, 99.1 FM The Key, and Braves Country HD, wherever you stream. Oh, yeah, baby. It's Tuesday, and March Madness is here. You're listening to WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key in Noonan, Georgia.
Armchair.
You're listening to the Armchair Quarterback Sports Radio, #1 sports station.
Good afternoon, and this is your Armchair Quarterbacks Sports Flash. MLB spring training action today. Braves are at the Phillies. We'll keep you updated from all the action in Clearwater and the scores on the screen on Braves Country HD. You've also got Nats at Mets, Orioles and the Pirates, Twins at the Rays, Pirates and Twins, Cardinals at Astros, Red Sox and Tigers, while the Astros travel to the Marlins. Your late games are Angels at the Guardians, Athletics at the White Sox, and Royals at the Mariners. Giants and Diamondbacks square off, and tonight, Blue Jays at Yankees, Royals host the Reds. The association is in action tonight, and NBA TV has a doubleheader. 7:30 Eastern, Nuggets are at the Raptors, and at 10 o'clock, Bucks are at the Suns. Other games in action, Magic at the Spurs, Cavs at the Hornets, Pistons are at the Wizards, Nets at Thunder, and the Knicks travel to the Trailblazers. March Madness begins tonight, baby. You got a couple of play-in games and the NIT all set and ready to roll. Let's take a look at the field of 68 first. Southeast Missouri State, 19-16 on the year. They finished first in the OVC. The Red Hawks will battle Texas A&M, Corpus Christi, Islanders. Islanders finished first in the Southland at 23-10. Corpus Christi, a 4-point favorite, over under 156. And at 9:10 Eastern, you got an ACC-SEC showdown. Battle of 11 seeds trying to march on to the field of 64. It'll be the Pittsburgh Panthers squaring off against the Mississippi State Bulldogs. Panthers were 22-11 and last took the court last Thursday against the Duke Blue Devils, where they were blown out 96-69, while the Mississippi State Bulldogs are 21-12 out of the Southeastern Conference. Their previous game was also a blowout, 72-49 to the Alabama Crimson Tide. The Bulldogs are a 1.5-point favorite, the over-under 133. Over in the NIT tonight, things get going 7 Eastern on ESPNU. Hofstra versus Rutgers, the number 1 seed of the NIT. And over on the Deuce, it's Toledo versus Michigan. While at 7:30, Southern Miss will travel to UAB. Birmingham, a 9.5-point favorite. Villanova is a 3.5-point dog at Liberty. That game takes place at 9 o'clock. The other 9 o'clock tilt on ESPNU, Yale at Vanderbilt. The Commodores, a 4-point favorite. And at 9:30 on ESPN, Bradley at Wisconsin. Badgers giving up 3 on their home court. And on the U, it's Eastern Washington versus Washington State. The Cougars, 11.5-point favorite at home, over under 150.5. And Seton Hall versus Colorado is your 11 p.m. game on ESPN2. The Pirates, 17-15 on the year. Buffaloes hosting at 17-16. Some moving and shaking in the National Football League today. Let's hit it real quick. The Atlanta Falcons signed quarterback Taylor Heineke. Heineke signs a 2-year deal worth up to $20 million. The Georgia native will be replacing Marcus Mariota on the Falcons roster. Los Angeles Chargers have granted running back Austin Eckler permission to seek a trade after the two sides failed to make progress on a new contract. Eckler is 27 years old and entering the final season of a 4-year deal. He requested permission Monday to speak with other teams. Raheem Mostert returns to the Dolphins on a 2-year deal, and Jacoby Myers is heading to the Raiders. He signs a 3-year deal with Las Vegas worth $33 million to pair up with ex-Patriot himself and most recently former San Francisco 49er Jimmy G. And Michael Thomas is returning to the Saints. Michael Thomas helped recruit his new quarterback Derek Carr to come to New Orleans, and Carr returned the favor. Thomas's deal is incentive-laden and a 1-year contract. And the Tampa Bay Bucks are trading right guard Shaq Mason. Mason is heading to the Houston Texans. The Bucks will receive a 6th-round pick, and they will also send their 7th-round pick in the 2023 draft. We'll keep you up to date as the show goes on, including the Aaron Rodgers Watch. And that's your Armchair Quarterback Sports Flash. Stay tuned for Braves Country right here on WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key in Noonan, Georgia, simulcasting on youtube.com at Braves Country.
It's the best in sports and entertainment, and get locked in and locked down with Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. with your host, me, Ryan O'Neill, each and every morning, right here with the best in sports and entertainment, all the way from professional sports to college sports to River Dragons hockey and everything in between, including some of the very best local and national guests. It's the Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. Monday through Friday, right here on 99.1 FM WQEE.
Are you looking for a reliable dental practice that not only cares about your teeth, but is friendly to work with? How about one that offers great deals and new patient promotions? Well, your search is over. Most Valuable Smiles in downtown Eatonton, Georgia is committed to giving you the biggest and brightest smile. Right now, get a $99 new patient special, including x-rays and exam. Maybe you're looking for veneers. Most Valuable Smiles veneer special includes 1 free veneer with every 5 purchased. Or get that bright white smile you've always wanted by taking advantage of an exclusive $100 off Zoom whitening treatment when you book today. And don't forget that 2022 is almost over. That means most insurance policies will reset by the new year, and to avoid losing that extra money, you need to use it or lose it. Book an appointment today with Most Valuable Smiles in downtown Eatonton to lock in these exclusive deals. Call 706-623-0318 or visit mostvaluablesmiles.com.
Friday, March 17th, St. Patty's Day with Braves Country. The Atlanta Braves are in Fort Myers, Florida to take on the Boston Red Sox. Braves Country Baseball right here on the Key, giving you play-by-play, pitch-by-pitch of your Atlanta Braves. That's Friday, March 17th, 1 p.m. Eastern, St. Patty's Day, Braves Country on WQEE.
I mean, what now between me and you?
Oh, that what now? I tell you what now between me and you.
There is no me in you. Not no more.
Armchair.
Community Access Channel.
He's the armchair quarterback. He's full of beer and he's full of snacks. The all-American man.
Welcome back, hour number 2. And it can't get any finer when Joey pulls up from the diner. What are you doing, brother?
Hey, good to be back. I'm just looking forward to it. It's a short week for me. I'm headed to Nashville for the tournament, watch the games there with the boys. But that being said, I can't believe it all starts tonight. It's hard enough to pick a Final Four. Yet again, March Madness is here.
Have you figured out what you're going to do there?
I finally, just about in the last hour to make sure I had it ready for today.
So what day do you show up there? Thursday or Wednesday?
Yes, sir. Thursday morning.
Thursday morning. What is the first place that y'all are getting off your list?
Well, they're arguing between which barbecue place to go to for lunch right now. So there's a few names in the – I actually you gave me quite a few suggestions. I threw, your places in the mix. We actually have a couple of them going. But they're arguing over the barbecue place. I just told them, where do I show up and how many TVs they got?
I can tell you from experience, I'm assuming that you're going to be in the downtown Nashville area.
Correct.
Martin's Barbecue is where it's at. Now, there's a lot of barbecue in Nashville, but I want to say we hit there the last time that we went there, but Martin's Barbecue, there's a couple of other really good ones. I don't have their Martin's Barbecue's got a few of them all over Nashville. Mission Barbecue's really good as well.
Yeah, one of them for sure started with an M. I know one was named Hattie B's. There was like 3 choices in there. So I think one of the first 2 you mentioned were in the running for to which one we'll go to.
Well, if you got any questions, just shoot me a text and I can probably lead you. If I don't know the answer, I know someone who does.
And if you don't get a text from me one of the days, that probably means my phone's broken or I'm 6 feet deep, because I plan on letting you know a couple places I hit up at when I'm there.
Are you going to get you some hot chicken?
I hope I get some hot chicken and then some hot chicks at the same time. The weather's not looking too great. That's the only downfall.
What's that?
The weather's not looking too great right now, so I'm hoping that turns around.
They're not expecting snow there, are they?
No, but it says rain maybe a couple days, which is fine. I'm not, it is what it is, but I hope the rain stays away.
Hattie B's is more known for their hot chicken. So that might be what they're talking about. They're known for their hot chicken. If you're going hot chicken, that's where you want is Hattie B's. The other place that is really popular is called Prince's. We did Hattie B's the last time we were there. It was really, it's kind of hard to screw up hot chicken.
Right.
I make it here all the time. In fact, I'm making a version of a hot chicken wrap tonight for dinner for me and my wife. Those are the funny part is that a buddy and I were talking about this, I don't know, around 5 years ago when it got really popular because it got on the Food Network. And he's lived in Nashville easily 30 years. And I lived there around 20-ish. And we were talking. He's like, man, do you ever remember growing up and people talking about hot chicken? I was like, not really. I was like, there's spicy chicken sandwiches and stuff like this, but I don't really remember it being a hot chicken. He goes, yeah, I think this was created by Kentucky Fried Chicken doing a media blitz, and then a couple other restaurants clinged on to it, and now all of a sudden it's all known for hot chicken. But I'll tell you right now, I lived there in the 90s and into the 2000s. I don't ever remember going, hey guys, we gotta go get some hot chicken. I remember the first time I saw it on a commercial from Kentucky Fried Chicken, living in Florida, and someone goes, "What's hot chicken?" I was like, "That's a damn good question." But
we got first timers everywhere.
Well, I've worked in a lot of places that had this recipe, give or take, but we didn't refer to it as hot chicken. They normally called it buffalo. It was a buffalo chicken sandwich, buffalo this, buffalo, but whatever. It's all marketing. I'll find out where that band is at that I was telling you about. They normally put all their information out. See, where are they at? Normally, 9 times out of 10, they're either at Tin Roof or they're at, what is the name of that place? I just sent it to you the other day. The Stage on Broadway. The Stage on Broadway is really cool. It's right down there in the heart of it. And it's right next to Tootsie's, and it's right next to Legends. And it's a really cool. They're all really cool places to catch live music.
I cannot wait. Like I said, first time for me, so I'm ready to take it all in.
I'd say out of those 3, my least favorite is Tootsie's, and it's only because the place is so old. It is crammed, packed. It's such a small venue. I mean, literally, you're going to feel like you're walking into a closet. You're like, what in the world? But if it's a busy night, standing room only, but they have built a deck outside, which everyone's built a deck at this point.
Yeah, I'm looking at images right now. Wow.
It's crammed. Legends has elbow room, and the Stage has elbow room.
Yeah, let's get it cracking.
That's right. And of course, there's all kinds of joints. But anyways, we will move on to some sports talk.
Yes, we will.
It's by far my favorite city in the country, so I just love talking about Nashville. But let's go ahead and talk about what. By the way, what games are there in Nashville? I haven't even looked that up.
We're actually. I mean, I say we're going there for the games, just really to watch them. They don't really have, or actually, well, I haven't looked if there's any games in that region, but I haven't even looked into where the games are. I'm just excited to watch all of them.
Oh, I thought you do the games. I thought that was a part of this. Okay.
St. Patrick's Day, it came out with a good time. Between the tournament and St. Patrick's Day, we figured we picked a pretty good weekend.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I thought they were hosting because I've actually watched games there in Nashville at the arena. That's why I kept referencing the arena and the text, because I thought you were going to be coming in and out of the games there. But I watched, man, I think it's been close to 10 years ago.
Time flies.
Florida State was playing in the tournament, and I was down there with the girl that I was dating at the time when we were living in outside of Nashville, but we were down there. It was for St. Patrick's Day weekend. I do remember that.
Oh.
And we were supposed to go back on that Sunday, and Florida State had played. I don't remember, man, it's been so long, but they won the early game, and they were playing again that Sunday night, and we were both off that Monday for whatever reason. I don't really remember why, but anyways, we decided to stay another night, but they played a night game. It was like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock local time. And by the time we got into the stadium and realized we'd been out raising Cain the last couple of nights in the Nashville for St. Patty's Day. By the time we got into the stadium by 9 o'clock that night, she was passed out. I mean, the entire game, I was having a hard time staying awake because I was just so tired, but she was literally just passed out. And I was like, well, here we go.
Babysitting time.
I'm pretty sure we won the game, but it's been so long ago. The biggest thing I remember is her being passed out and just slumped over. I'm like, yeah, this is not a good look, man. Anyways, those were the days, right? Those were the days.
Oh, you can't beat
Enjoy it while you can, sir. And there is no funner place for a single man, I can tell you that, than Nashville, Tennessee. Let's go ahead and get into. I'm curious to see what your bracket busters are going to be.
Okay.
See, how much time do we have before the next segment? I'll tell you what. Let's hit NFL free agency right now, and then we'll do the bracket busters because I feel like that's going to bleed in. NFL free agency. I'm assuming you've been keeping up with it today. Did you see this trade by Darren Waller over the Giants?
Oh, yes, I did. And honestly, at first I can't decide if I like Darren Waller's a tricky player, right? Because a couple years ago, he's one of the best tight ends in the game. Last year, he's hampered by injury issues. So, but it doesn't seem like a lot of value given up. So to me, maybe the Giants could rebirth him there with the offense run by Dable. What's your thoughts?
Well, because it's Brian Dable, I guess, there's just a stain on Daniel Jones that everyone believes his ceiling is very low. But he did play well last year. And he played well with, you're talking about a non-existing wide receiver core. So now they get Waller. I would assume they're going to be aggressive trying to get someone in the draft, if not 2 or 3 receivers in the draft. And could they be possibly bringing in someone else? I'm thinking trade, but they could be out there trying to get some wide receiver free agents. I just think it's a heck of a move. I'm a little surprised that the Raiders were willing to part with him. They did get a 3rd round pick, which is in today's NFL is a pretty good pick. But man,
but going to your point, I'm scratching my head with what the Raiders are doing here. First off, not to their fault, but they're in one of the hardest, if not the hardest division in football, is now Sean Payton's with Denver, obviously. So I think that will bolster Denver. But when you look at this Vegas team, they pretty much said, okay, Carr and Stidham, you weren't good enough, but Jimmy G is. I get it. He's a McDaniels guy. But how many games are you going to get out of him? Then, they're getting rid of Waller, but they're franchising Jacobs. I'm just kind of confused as to where they think they line up in this whole thing, because sometimes they make moves where I think they're all in, and then they do something like this where I'm just not really sure.
Yeah, and they're obviously going in a different direction. Now, when they brought in Jimmy G, I would have thought that they would have wanted to keep that in place. So are they thinking that Hunter Renfrow can have a resurgence? Jacoby Myers is off the board. Michael Thomas is off the board. So looking at the receivers that are still out there, and I'm going off of NFL Trade and Pro Football Focus, the rankings of the receivers that are still out there. You got OBJ, which I question whether or not he should be ranked that high. And the rest of the list, wide receivers, sorry, I'm having to scroll because they don't have it set up user friendly. Juju Smith-Schuster, McCall Hardman, Alan Lazard, which I think he's heading to the Jets because do you gotta find this interesting that Aaron Rodgers is giving the Jets a wish list of players he wants to play with, but he hasn't pulled the trigger yet and said, I'm coming. So me, honestly, if it's me, I say sign off on you coming, and then I will do whatever it takes to get these guys in here. But I don't want Alan Lazard, and I don't want Mercedes Lewis, and I don't want Randall Cobb if you're going to end up somewhere else.
Yeah, I was going to say, good for Aaron Rodgers. Even though he's a jerk, he's getting to pick whatever he wants. But why give this guy his wish list the go ahead until you secure him? Yeah, that's for sure. But it's just like the Jets get the deal done with Rodgers, get the pie before you get all the the toppings.
I don't mean to cut you off. Here's an interesting one. Guy that it's out there later in the years. I don't think it'll take a lot of money. Come to the Giants or maybe even go to the Raiders. Because if you're going to lose someone like Waller clearing up some money, he's not going to be very expensive because he's 33 years old right now. What about Adam Thielen? He's essentially a tight end.
Oh, I like that.
I like that one a lot for either one of those teams.
He kind of reminds me of when he was in his prime, like what Renfroe is now. Renfroe didn't have a great year last year, but Thielen gets all the tough yards and makes a ton of catches.
How is Kenny Golladay on the top 100 list of anything?
Is Paris Campbell in there?
He is. He's below Kenny Golladay, and that's ridiculous. Like
what?
Nobody.
Come on.
I should be above Kenny Golladay.
You could throw me and you on the field with one arm tied behind our backs. We'll put up the same stats.
And I run a 6'2", 40, and we're talking about minutes. I'm not talking about seconds. It's a brisk walk.
We gave up on seconds many, many moons ago.
It's a brisk walk. I no longer run anything. Darius Slayton. Braxton Berrios to me is an interesting one. I would sign Braxton Berrios as a check down Charlie bailout guy if I were an NFL team.
And just in
Brady
general,
comes back and plays wherever Brady goes, Braxton Berrios should follow him.
I'm really curious.
And Edelman written all over him.
I'm really curious to see if any of these wideouts get the Christian Kirk deal, because I remember, and I was one of them, I made fun of the Kirk deal, and then boom, he did produce at the end of the day there in Jacksonville. So I'm wondering who that guy is, if it's going to be one of these receivers, because not many receivers have chose landing spots yet. So I can't wait to see what the money works out to be for some of these guys.
They've got Julio Jones in the top 100 of free agents. I just don't see that.
What, for 1 touchdown in 2 games played?
Well, I was just about to say, I don't want to offend a lot of Falcons fans, but I was just about to say, who's the next idiot to think that they can resurrect his career? When Julio Jones was in his prime, he was elite. He was one of the best, and he was one of my favorite players to watch. But the Titans learned it the hard way. They took one for the team. And then for whatever reason, the Buccaneers thought they could fix whatever the Titans couldn't fix. I'm like, okay. When it goes south for a receiver or a running back, it goes south fast. So when you're explosion, how is Samaje Perine below Julio Jones in their ranking? Deontay Foreman is below Julio Jones?
Come on, man.
What year is this from? Yeah. We got to take a quick break. When we come back, Bracket Busters. It's right around 420 or just past it. Smoke them if you got them. We'll be back in a flash.
I bring home Entenmann's Little Bites muffins.
Little Bites?
That's right, sweetie. Can you just give Mommy a minute?
I love Little Bites.
I know you do, but we're doing a commercial right now, okay?
Got it.
As I was saying, whenever I bring home you-know-what, you-know-who gets pretty excited. And so do I. Little Bites muffins are made with real ingredients, no high-fructose corn syrup, and are baked moist and delicious.
I love Little Bites.
Here you go.
Yes.
Entenmann's Little Bites muffins. The perfect portion of happiness.
Hey, Braves fans. Thank you for listening to Braves Country Baseball. Hi, I'm Mac McGee, and we are here to bring you play-by-play, pitch-by-pitch of your Atlanta Braves, bringing you spring training and 2 to 3 games a week all season long. Please like and subscribe today. Braves Country Baseball.
How to improve your dining room by the Home Depot. New wood floors, new paint on the walls. Sure, you know us for that. But how about a new dining room table, matching chairs, bar stools? How about free and flexible delivery with easy online returns? Now you can explore decor in a whole new way. Save now on furniture. Everything for your home. Everything from HomeDepot.com. How doers get more done. U.S. only, valid through September 7th. Limitations apply.
Your true friends are the people in your life that totally get your inside jokes, your unique style, most important, what you want to eat. Taco Bell knows that when you get together with your real friends, it doesn't matter what you're doing, but hey, it might as well be something that everybody can get into, like the Taco and Burrito Cravings Pack with 4 crunchy tacos and 4 beefy 5-layer burritos. So even if you're all sitting around doing absolutely nothing, you know you'll still have a good time. It's Taco Bell's Taco and Burrito Cravings Pack. Get it for the friends that get it.
You're listening to Braves Country. Weekdays, 3 to 5 p.m., 99.1 FM, The Key.
So anyway, Harkin sat me down. He said, Champ, you're a dangerous alcoholic, a racist, and I don't think you know a lick about sports. And I said, Ed, you dirty Pollock, it's 10 in the morning. Let's go have some drinks. Then he fired.
Joey this weekend. 10 in the morning, let's go have some drinks.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Gonna be the Kool-Aid kid kicking through the door.
Where's my shoes?
And who are you? Where am I? Oh, Nashville's a dirty town, my friend.
Oh, my credit card's gone? Oh, boy.
That's best case scenario. I can tell you that right now. That is best case. Did you see this?
What do we got?
Tag me into it. I forgot to jot it down. Did you see this story? The Dodgers former pitcher, Trevor Bauer, signed with the Yokohama Bay Stars in Japan last night.
I did see a brief note on that.
That is very interesting. Now, what I'm wondering about this, it says it's a 1 year, $4 million deal with incentives. What I'm interested about this is, does the money that he's guaranteed by the Dodgers in Major League Baseball, the $22 million, I believe, that he's owed, do they have to pay the full 22, even though he's getting paid $4 from a team that's not in Major League Baseball? I would think so. I would say this is a loophole. Because to me, it would be the same as if he'd taken a job with AT&T and decided he was going to be working a call center this year. He's going to save his arm, right? No one wants to sign me. Whatever, dude. I wouldn't think they would be deducting that out of his check from the Dodgers. So
it's just unfortunate he even has to. He had to put himself in Major League Baseball in this position because
I just got a thought of Trevor Bauer giving you a call from AT&T to quickly turn south into some kind of like phone sex.
I think you got the wrong number, buddy.
Hey, this is Trevor Bauer. What are you into? Wait, what? Oh, I mean, are you happy with your services?
If so, dial 1.
And if not, can I perform some of those services?
I'm a great actor.
Hey-o! But I think it's not a terrible idea because I'll tell you what, this totally, in one of my underdog leagues, I took a flyer on him. Well, that's over. I mean, I don't think there's any way that he could end up pitching Major League Baseball this year. Took a flyer on him. This is early on when they first released him. I thought someone was going to give him a chance. So he's like getting blackballed, and he's done less. Actually, he's being accused of doing less than with some of these guys who are.
Well, in my city, you got Mike Clevenger, who just went right through the. And I know there's cases are up in the air, some are not closed, whatever. But Mike Clevenger had no problem showing up to spring training, while Trevor Bauer couldn't even get a call from a Major League Baseball team. So I know there's a lot that go into these, but it's interesting.
I mean, I just saw Marcell Ozuna get 2 or 3 hits today. And this is a guy who's been in trouble twice. I don't know. The thing is, there's so many conflicting stories on whether or not what went down was consensual. There's just a lot of big question marks of what she's accusing, but yet that same morning that she's accusing it happened, she's taking selfies of those two after said incident happened and posting on Instagram of her smiling and everything. So, I mean, what is that about?
And we got a little bit of breaking news. As you mentioned, Allen Lazard being interested in the New York Jets. Well, he just got what looks to be a 4-year deal worth $10 million per year per Jeremy Flowers. So they're starting to make the move.
Jets?
The Jets are getting him for 4 for $40, it looks like.
By God, they better. They better.
I hope they don't now.
It's not worth that if you don't have Aaron Rodgers. I'm sorry, he's not.
I hope they somehow screw this up.
I love the Taylor Heineke to the Falcons deal. I really do.
Couldn't agree more.
It's a great deal. It's very Mike White-esque. And he's a guy that, look, if this, because it looks like nobody's taking a fly. It wasn't just that the Falcons weren't interested in Lamar Jackson. Nobody's interested because no one wants to deal with him. Did you see his weird flex where he was talking about he was offered 3 years, 133? He turned it down, all guaranteed, and he said, and they say, I need an agent. Well, obviously you do, you moron, because you turned down what would have been a sweet deal because you would have been back on the free agent market realistically in 2 seasons, but 3.
Yeah, I think he's made. I mean, first off, not having an agent's a risky move, but I mean, he's passed up a couple of deals now. He could have had one in place just between his injury history and that. It's too much with that contract. I think these owners don't want another Watson contract even coming close. So he might be stuck where he is.
But 3 for 133?
Take it and run. Take it and run.
Get it. And then in 3 seasons from now, when you still have some playing, you should still have some playing left in you. You get to hit the market again, and if first of all, if you exceed expectations as you decline in your career, you could get another 2-year deal guaranteeing you another 60 plus at that point, right? I mean, what is he? There are many players that would have jumped at the chance at 3 for 133 guaranteed.
And I mean, don't you kind of like that too? These players all want.
Jones would have jumped at that. He just signed. God bless. He signed a 4-year deal with about that. With about that, I know it's 4 for 160, but I want to say the guaranteed was what? I don't even remember what it was now, but it was nowhere near the 133.
You know what's going to happen? He's going to end up staying in Baltimore, and they're not going to get him any players to help him out, and it's going to be the same stuff where they finish about 9-8. He plays about half the games, and that's that.
He's not going to play for Baltimore anymore.
Right. What I'm saying, my thing is though, is who's going to cough it up at this point? I mean, a lot of these teams are trying to find their path to a quarterback. I think he was, like you're saying, not
Daniel
smart.
Jones, 4 years, 160, 92 guaranteed. I was thinking it was 82, but 92 guaranteed. So Lamar Jackson could have gotten 3 years, 133 guaranteed, and be a free agent again. And this chucklehead's bragging. What is it? Does he think someone is going to give him? I guess he does. He thinks someone else is going to be as dumb as the Cleveland Browns. But not many people out there are as dumb as the Cleveland Browns.
No, listen, not only do you have to give up 2 first-round picks, you got to pay the farm, which limits you in future years. So if you get a healthy Lamar, that's one thing, but you can never guarantee his health.
No, I mean, you can't guarantee anybody's health.
Especially his, though.
I mean, I felt something in my arm earlier. I was eating an egg salad sandwich just before the show, about choked on that thing. You can't guarantee anybody's health, man.
Yeah, okay. Very fair point.
Who was that? Was that Olbermann, or was that someone else that used to say on ESPN? This might be before your time, but he'd say, so-and-so is day to day. Aren't we all? Then he would move on. Yeah. Mostert and Wilson get re-signed by the Dolphins. That's strange to me. There were so many rumors about Miles Sanders possibly going to Miami, which would have been a perfect fit.
Absolutely.
Instead, they decided to bone up on. Don't get an elite running back. Sign 17 running backs.
Forget it.
Here's hoping one of them's healthy this weekend. All right, bracket busters.
Woo.
about that time. If you have not signed up yet, while Joey's giving me his final four predictions, and Joe, if you can put it in the chat after you've given
Will
them.
do.
While you're doing that, I'm going to retrieve the link, and it's pinned to the top of Facebook and Twitter, Braves Country HD. Free to join. The winner gets a gift card to Fanatics, and the free to enter bracket challenge on Braves Country HD, wherever you stream. So, even if you don't even know what you're doing, those are usually the people that win these things. So, let's get into it. Give me your final four, and then what have you.
Yeah, and this was I mean, as we all know, this was just a tough one. It was went through a few of these, threw a couple away, but in our final four, where I ended up landing, I'll start in the top seeded region with Alabama. I ended up choosing Arizona to come out of that conference. Everyone to me is loading up on Alabama, which, hey, deservedly so. They might have the best player in the country, and obviously one of the best records. They were the number one overall seed. But I'm going to have Arizona winning and taking that one. I like what they did in the pack this year and then did in the conference tournament. So I have Arizona. Going over to the Purdue bracket, down low in the bottom left, I'm staying with Purdue. I think a lot of people are going to be hating on them. I know historically, especially last year, they lost to a St. Peter's team. It was a disappointing finish, but I think this is finally the year Purdue gets over the hump and gets to a Final Four, because it's just been too long for a team that's had pretty good success. Then if you go to the bottom right where Kansas is number one, I'm actually going with the UCLA. And the reason I'm doing that, I know a lot of people say, well, Mark Pugh and Gonzaga, they're under the radar. That is very true, but I just like this UCLA team. I think in this March Madness tournament, you could see them make a big run. They've been very consistent, and I'm going with them. And then in the top right region, I'm putting my second. I got two Indiana teams, I guess, in the Final Four, because I'm going with the Indiana Hoosiers to make the Final Four and come up there. So my Final Four overall, and I'm going to put this in the chat, will be Arizona 2 seed, Purdue 1 seed, UCLA 2 seed, and Indiana 4 seed. That's my Final Four.
Okay, so you got Purdue in the East. You've got UCLA. Are they in the West? Yeah, UCLA's in the West. I like how you said in the right region, like everybody's looking at the same piece of paper.
Hey, every bracket's the same. You know how many of these bad boys have been printed over the past 24 hours? Sorry.
Indiana, where are they at? Are they in the well, they can't be in that region. So Arizona is in the South region, and the Indiana must be, yes, Indiana's in the Midwest. Okay.
Brian says I'm drunk for picking Indiana, but a 4 seed, I mean, I've seen a lot lower than a 4 seed make the Final Four.
All right. Yesterday, I believe, I thought I jotted it down, but I can't find it anywhere. But I believe I gave everyone my Midwest pick, and that was Houston. If not, I'll be regurgitating something later. The Midwest pick being Houston. I am going to go. Let me go down to the East. And in the East bracket, Purdue is vulnerable because they don't score. Tennessee, the injury to their guard, he's out for the year. He's not coming back. I don't even know if they're going to make it past the first round. So I don't like Tennessee. Kentucky's been way too up and down. Kansas State's a fraud. Michigan State, to me, is always very well coached, but I don't think they're going to get past Marquette. I think Marquette's going to be a dangerous, dangerous squad. Give me the Duke Blue Devils, baby. I think Duke is playing better basketball now than some of your top seeds, including Purdue. And the defense has been there all year long, but they're starting to hit from outside, and that's going to be huge. that is going to be enormous. If they can continue to shoot and shoot well, Duke is going to go on a run. I don't think Oral Roberts is a tough matchup. I don't think I would take him in the points. I haven't seen the point spread, but I'm sure it's double digits. I'm not touching that. But I think they're going to find a way to get past that game. And if they do, they're probably going to face either a banged up Tennessee team or Louisiana. And don't be shocked if Purdue does not make it out of the second round. Memphis.
Lots of famous pick. I feel like a lot of people. Yeah.
Memphis and FAU, the winner of that game, they're going to wreak havoc on. Now, the one thing that Purdue has is a guy who's like 19 feet tall. And as long as he's not in foul trouble, very, very difficult to get in the lane and create easy buckets, right?
Yeah, and, after watching a lot of Big Ten ball this year where Purdue struggles most, and I think you're alluding to, is they can't keep up when they get pressured. When the inbound comes in and the teams start to full court pressure or play past half court, they don't have the speed. They don't have it. And
their main guy, which, look, I know he's dominating college basketball. He's going to be terrible in the NBA.
Oh, I don't even think he'll be a first-round pick. He'll probably be
well, no, some idiot will.
Maybe.
There's always some idiot who goes, you know what? We can teach him to be quick. But I'm assuming that he's coming out this year. I just think they're vulnerable. But the biggest thing is I kind of feel like FAU is going to get past Memphis, although that is a great game. I love that game.
Yes.
I haven't even looked to see what time that game is. I really hope it's not at some weird time and I get to watch it. The winner of that game is going to be dangerous, and I'll tell you something else. If FAU goes up against Purdue, you talk about a contrast in styles, because you're talking about Purdue's like, boom, ba-dum, ba-dum, ba-dum. And if FAU's like, yeah, boom, ba-dum, ba-dum.
I kind of want to see that now.
That's my official breakdown of that game.
Meet the Flintstones.
We got to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about tonight's games, give you our locks, and we'll give you the picks of who's going to win tonight's games. But what you really care about, who's going to cover that spread. We'll be back in a flash here on Braves Country and Braves Country HD, wherever you stream, baby.
Hey, check it out. A snow cone machine.
A snow cone machine?
You're saying it wrong. It's a snow cone machine.
Wendy's only makes one kind of breakfast, your new favorite one. How do we do it? With fresh cracked eggs, oven-baked bacon, and flaky croissants. The things your old breakfast wasn't doing. So toss that old news and its soggy eggs somewhere useful. And get to Wendy's. A sausage, egg, and Swiss croissant, bacon, egg, and Swiss croissant, and honey butter chicken biscuit. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's.
Limited time only. Single item at regular price. Price and participation may vary at U.S. Wendy's.
Hey, sports fans. The Key has a brand new show. Braves Country is coming your way weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern. Drive time on WQEE. Braves Country is a Southern sports talk show with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. We'll be talking the Atlanta Braves and Major League Baseball, along with everything important to sports fans in Braves Country. The SEC, ACC, Big Ten, and the National Football League, and the big sports news of the day. That's Braves Country with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. Weekdays, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. right here on WQEE, The Key, 99.1 FM, and simulcasting on youtube.com/@Braves Country.
Choose a yogurt that's right for you. With 2 grams of sugar per 5.3 ounce serving, Too Good Greek yogurt is too good to be true. So Delicious dairy-free yogurt and Silk yogurt alternatives are delicious plant-based swaps you can enjoy by the spoon or add to recipes. Oikos 000 yogurt and Light and Fit yogurt are tasty, non-fat yogurt options. So many flavors, varieties, and possibilities. Elevate any recipe and your everyday with yogurt.
You're listening to WQEE. Welcome back to Braves Country. Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. Weekdays, 3 to 5 p.m. Drive time on WQEE. Oh! Your Atlanta Braves kicked the Liberty Bell out of Philadelphia today, 15-5. Will that possibly be a sign of things to come? Probably not. Spring training, but it's fun to look at.
Why not?
Albies, 3 RBI. Marcell Ozuna, 4 RBI. 2 for 3, and he's hitting 321 this spring. Ruh-roh. All those folks who want to get rid of Ozuna, it's not turning out well for you. Grissom, 2 for 3. Hitting 321. Kevin Pillar got on base twice. Sam Hilliard, 2 for 3, hitting 357. Adrianza went yard, hitting 381. Look out.
Huh?
Anderson got into the game and 1 inning pitch. No earned runs. We talked about him earlier in Talking Chop. And 1 strikeout. Bryce Elder gave up a couple of runs. Johnstone came in and got pounded in the last inning, 1 inning, 3 earned runs. But Tonkin came in and pitched a clean inning. Moran and Young. And there you have it. So that's what's going down in Braves country. Home runs, Adrianza today. Albies hit 1 today. How about Marcell Ozuna raking in 4 RBIs? He had a double. How about it? All right. Let's talk about tonight's games. As it's going to get interesting because you've got, and then we'll talk bracket busters. And I'll tell you what, let's hit the bracket busters first so I don't forget. Because I'm bad about that. I meant to bring it up with Tones, and I guess we'll talk about it on Friday. But did you see this kid? 16 years old. I saw it in my notes from yesterday because I was trying to find my pick. And I was like, gosh, dog it. I do this all the time where I tell you guys we're going to go over something and then we just run out of time. This Ethan Salas for the Padres. Did you see the video of this kid?
I did not.
16 years old. He's a catcher. He's in this. He's up with the club playing spring training. Now he's not going to make the team. 16 years old. Now I have no idea what his bat has been like, but this kid can frame. And you can see it even if you're the most novice baseball fan. When you watch him frame, he's 16 years old. And he's just very, very easily, as opposed to the ball catching him, he's catching the ball. And he's just out there, whap, whap, whap. And each time he's making the catch, it's going right back into the frame for a strike. I don't know where they signed him from. I'm assuming it had to be overseas because, 16 years old here, they're still playing travel ball, right? I don't know how old he was when they signed him, but I'm going to look into that because I told Tones that we were going to talk about it, and so we'll try to squeeze it in on Friday, I guess. Of course, Friday we got the Braves Red Sox game here on the key that we'll be bringing in, but he'll be jumping on afterwards. But this is unbelievable. 16 years old. And I'm like, what in the name of sweatshop laws is going on around here, man?
Who's getting in trouble for this one day?
16 years old? I mean, we live in a society. We have to have some rules.
Oh, boy.
I mean, this is up there with when every time they showed the video of Tiger Woods putting on the Bob Hope show with his dad when he was like 3. I'm like, man, that kid, he never had a choice of what he wanted to be. Tiger was going to be a golfer. He had no choice in that matter. All right, let's get into the bracket busters.
Let's do it.
Give me one per region. I'll do the same. Give me your first one. Go to the South. And in your world, that's in the left side, left-hand corner, top corner.
Thank you. I'm a picture guy, you know.
Give me a bracket buster, and when I'm saying bracket busters, y'all, what I'm saying is one team that can just ruin your bracket because of that one upset. They're not necessarily going to make a deep run, but man, they're going to bust your bracket wide open. Give me that team.
Well, I'm going to kick off with a bang right here because I actually have the team, the 12 seed Charleston, beating Virginia in the round of 32. So I'm busting brackets with Virginia going out early. I don't like Virginia personally. I just think they're a pretty bland team. Fraud. And I'm going with Charleston to get to the Sweet 16.
All right, I'll do you one better.
Oh.
The West Virginia Mountaineers not only beat Maryland, which is no big deal, they dropped the Alabama Crimson Tide before they ever make it to the Sweet 16.
Wow.
That is a terrible matchup for Alabama. And if that's who they face, now look, if they luck out and play Maryland, they'll probably be fine. But West Virginia will play the type of basketball that is, if you can force Alabama into a half-court game and you can shoot the ball well and you hit on all the fundamentals, that is West Virginia basketball up and down. What about the Midwest? Top right corner.
I love you for that. Thank you very much. In the Midwest, into the top right corner, I just, I think Indiana is going to – I have them in my Final Four. I'm going to bring them up again. I don't think many people will have them go in there, but I really think with this team led by Trace Jackson Davis, I watch a good amount of ball this year. They've beaten up on Purdue when they play them. I just have a feeling they might be the team that gets by Houston in that region.
Who was that again? I'm sorry.
The Indiana Hoosiers. I think I had them in my Final Four. I know they're a 4 seed, but I don't think many
that's
people.
Not really a bracket buster. I'm talking about Okay,
then I'm going to go with another team in the Big Ten. I'll go with Penn State, and I'm actually going to.
You're just doing that because your brother's probably staring right at you.
No, thank God I see him enough. I don't need him to stare at me. But in all seriousness, they had a great Big Ten run, and Texas, everybody's clinging on to. Don't be surprised if maybe Penn State plays that game close.
Hey, I'll tell you what, Texas better watch out. Colgate is a tough team. And I haven't looked at all these point spreads, but if that thing's even close to double digits, I'm banging Colgate all day long. Colgate moves quick. They play a very quick version of what I like to call old school basketball. In other words, they're making cuts. They're setting picks. They are very good handling the ball. Colgate's a dangerous game. I'm sure Texas hated that draw. All right, I was probably going to go with Penn State, but it's my fault for giving you a hard time. So, give me Kennesaw State, baby. They're going to drop Xavier first round. Number 14 seed, let's go. Been watching them all year, and Kennesaw State is going to make it do what it do. What's the East bracket buster?
Wow, I love how you went with that one because I know you've been following them, and that's exciting stuff right there. So
they're dangerous. They're dangerous.
Absolutely. I mean, if you just watch the conference tournament without even watching the regular season, you saw it there. Where are we going to next? Sorry, you got me all excited.
East, the bottom left.
And okay. So down in this conference, I'm going to actually go with Michigan State beating Marquette. And I know you said you were big on Marquette. A lot of people probably are. But I think Michigan State is a sneaky run. They were a first-round exit of their choice in the Big Ten championship. I think they've had quite a few days off, and Tom Izzo gets them ready to take out Marquette and make a little bit of a run. I'm going to go with the Michigan State.
As much as I hate to say it because I'll be pulling for them, but I think Louisiana is going to take out Tennessee. 13 seed, break that four seed bracket buster. So that is my pick for the East. I hate picking against them, but it is what it is. What is the West? What's your West bracket busters? We're coming up on time.
Yeah, and you don't have to tell me because it's the last one, so I know it's the bottom right. No, really quickly, I'm going to go I'm going to go. Yeah, don't be surprised. I have a big head, but not much in it. I'm going to go VCU. I think they can make a nice little run here, and they could take out UConn to me in the round of 32.
I definitely like VCU in the first round. I'm not sure about second round, but I definitely do like them in the first round. And it's pretty safe bet because I noticed that you've taken a couple of 12 seeds. That's usually the one that hits at 12 versus 5. Let's see. So let me go with I think that's low hanging fruit. I'm not going with that one. Let me go in the West. This is one of the few ones I think is going to go pretty close to chalk. But if I got to take, I guess what I'm going to do is take a higher seed to go a little farther. Let me go with, I am not exactly sold on Kansas per se.
Me either.
So UConn could make a run, but they're a 4 seed. So let me back down a little. This is literally a dart. If I got to take like a double-digit seed to pull off an upset, give me Boise State to beat Northwestern. Northwestern has been so up and down. I'm a little worried about UCLA's injury. It evidently now their top guys out for the season. So that's going to be difficult. But Boise State won't beat UCLA, I don't think, but I do think that they're going to dump Northwestern. That's just a tough game, and I don't have the location, but it is out west, so I would think that Boise State's going to have the home court advantage. What is your lock and your walk-off real quick? We got like 10 seconds.
Yeah, I'll just give my lock real quick. I got the Denver Nuggets +1 at the Toronto Raptors tonight. I know the Nuggets are struggling a little bit, but they're better than the Raptors, and if you're getting points, I'm taking them.
All right, and I am going to go with – I don't have it in front of me what the exact play would be, but give me Vanderbilt and Corpus Christi on the money line, a two-team parlay that should play almost times 2. We got to run. Brian Snow Show is up next, and we will see you tomorrow, one day closer to full tournament action. Tomorrow, Brian Snow's with us, and so is Justin Waller. Have a great day, y'all. And have fun, Joey.
Thank you.
Goodbye, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. We're back tomorrow with another show. Well, unless we're fired, we'll talk to you then. Goodbye, sweetheart. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Guys and gals, it's time to go. We'll see you on the next show.
Same bat time, same bat channel.
Thanks for listening to Braves Country with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks on 99.1 FM WQEE, The Key in Noonan, Georgia, and simulcasting on youtube.com/@Braves Country. Braves Country comes your way weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern. Please follow, like, and subscribe today. Armchair Quarterback Radio, your first choice for Southern sports.
Something of the 5th of September. Something of the 5th of September. She said a lot that I can't remember. Something of the 5th. Can I get another cigarette, please? Can I get another cigarette, please? Yeah, I know I live to regret it. Just give me another cigarette, please.
You're listening to WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key in Noonan, Georgia. Friday, March 17th, St. Patty's Day with Braves Country. The Atlanta Braves are in Fort Myers, Florida to take on the Boston Red Sox. Braves Country Baseball right here on the Key, giving you play-by-play, pitch-by-pitch of your Atlanta Braves. That's Friday, March 17th, 1 p.m. Eastern, St. Patty's Day, Braves Country on WQEE.